That's what it was.
Like, okay, y'all basically said, okay, just a reminder that a man should be judged if he can't produce anything, which I agree with.
I didn't say that.
But at the same time, well, you said you can judge your man, which is actually even worse. Nice try, though. However, when I asked you, should a woman be judged on her body count, all of you said no, pretty much, except for you.
That's two different topics. That's sex, and that's.
I
man.
said,
But
I said no.
that's true. That's true. But men have to go out there and create their value. Women have to preserve it. And let's be honest here, preserving something that's valuable is much easier than going out there and creating something that's valuable because you already have it.
Because I thought like that. Like,
Yeah.
if it's good,
We have
then
something
obviously you're going
valuable,
to
is what
preserve
you're
it.
saying.
Yes, your sexuality is your most valuable asset,
Mhm.
which is why your looks and your sexuality are the two most powerful things that a woman has.
Mhm.
I would argue it's probably your main bargaining chips with men because, quite frankly, men don't really care about anything else besides those two things. Everything else is a plus. If you cook and clean, like you mentioned, cool. But if you're not hot enough, it doesn't matter. So I just found it interesting how men can be judged for being lazy, but you shouldn't be judged for making personal decisions that affect you. See the contradiction there?
But why are you choosing to choose sex
Sex
and
and
that specifically
man.
as the example?
A woman's utility typically comes from her sexuality. A man's utility typically comes from what he creates. This is why an ugly man that has status can still get a bad bitch, whereas an ugly woman that has status can't necessarily get a top tier guy.
That's also though because of certain ways that men think. Certain men think a certain way, so they think that they're
Explain.
just- I feel like certain men think like that it's just like a chain in command. Like certain men feel like they're just above women. So it's like even if the woman is like above them, but she's not cute, then they're just gonna disregard her.
Okay, realistically speaking, do you want to lead a relationship or do you think your man should lead a relationship?
I would rather a dominant relationship. I don't
Okay.
want to be able to boss
Would you
my
prefer to
man
lead the
around.
relationship or would you prefer your man to lead the relationship?
This question.
I'm gonna let him leave.
Okay, what about you?
I'll say both.
That's impossible.
We both can be leaders.
No.
And
If it's a
figure it out.
partnership, you could
You
be
do
able
realize
to be
in
fifty.
order
So
for
one
someone
person
to
has to
lead,
lead.
therefore someone must follow, correct?
Correct.
That's the very definition of a leader. So someone must follow. Who must follow, the man or the woman?
But what if his
Let her
decision is
finish.
bad?
Let her.
I guess the man.
What about you?
I want my man to lead.
The man? Okay, what about you?
Both of us are leading the ship. That's all I'm gonna say.
Really?
Yeah,
Both of you are leading the ship?
yeah. That's how I feel.
Name one successful country that has 2 presidents.
I don't gotta name no successful country. That's
Okay.
just how I feel.
Well, how you feel versus what's real are 2 different things. Let's operate in
No.
reality here.
Because
Fuck
the
your
difference
feelings.
is
What
that I
actually
actually
works?
I actually have been in a relationship where we both are literally working together, and there was nothing wrong with it. That's
Okay,
I'm
why is
saying
that
how I
relationship
feel.
not here today?
Because we just don't want to be in a relationship.
Because it doesn't work. Now,
No,
going
it
back to what I was
did
saying,
work. That's
who
the
leads a relationship, a man or a woman, if you had to pick one for it to actually work?
So a man has to lead
So-
for it to work.
Well, I'm just asking your
I'm
opinion.
asking
Okay, so then
I'll
you're
answer
asking
that,
my
don't worry.
opinion, and I'm giving you the answer that is my answer, but you're telling me that that's not going to work. I'm telling you.
No,
what
no, no.
my
I'm saying
answer is.
you can't have 2 leaders. There's got to be one. Just say the woman if you think it should be the woman.
No, I don't feel like it should be the woman or the man. I think that you both can literally lead. That's how I feel. That's my opinion. That's my answer. That's it.
But that does not
Okay.
adhere to reality because by definition of leading, someone has to follow.
Okay, you can move on to the next girl. But
I mean, I'm speaking
answer
English
is-
language. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. There has to be a leader and a follower in any type of dynamic. Who is it? For it to actually work.
If you had to pick one,
If you had to pick one, what do you think is optimal to the progression of humankind?
For me, my parents led together. That's why I feel the way I do. That's
but
why I'm
someone
saying
made
that.
the choices, right? After the whole
No, my
debacle.
mom and dad literally would make choices together. That's what I'm saying.
No, but somebody made the final call, right?
Yes.
They made it together.
Bro.
That's what you think. But
No,
someone
that
made the final
is-
decision.
All I'm saying is, you guys can feel what you feel, but I'm just telling you my opinion, and that is what it is. Like,
It's
why
not
can't
about what
move
we
on
feel.
from
It's
that?
about what's real. There, you can't have 2
Okay.
leaders.
My opinion
There's
is
not
that
one
it's 2
Fortune
leaders.
500
That's it.
company
I'm
that
not
has
changing my
2
opinion.
leaders. There's not one country that has 2 presidents. There's not one type of organization that actually works and functions properly that has multiple leaders. Nothing gets done by committee. There has to be one final decision maker. This is how the world works.
That's what you guys think.
It's not what I think. It's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't agree. That's just it.
You don't agree with reality once again.
Okay.
You're delusional.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you? Who do you think should lead man or woman in a relationship optimally?
If I had to pick one, then
Yes.
the man.
Okay, and then you were saying something before that you were trying to say as far as like, what if the man can't lead?
Partnership.
Yeah, partnership. Because what if I have a certain knowledge that he doesn't have? And then we're going to have to go 50-50 and figure out how we're going to do this and do that.
Well, let me
like-
ask you this. An optimal relationship, would you prefer the man to be the leader and you don't have to go 50-50? Or do you actually want a 50-50 relationship with a man, optimally speaking, if it was your choice?
No, he could lead.
There's the answer to your question. Women want leaders by your own peers shown,
That wasn't
besides
my
one
question.
individual. Huh?
That wasn't my question.
No, but you were trying to say, well, like, man, like hierarchy, blah, 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 and you couldn't really articulate yourself. I'm trying to tell you that nature
I said
creates the
that.
hierarchy.
I'd rather my man be a leader.
Congratulations, you and 95% of other women. So what are you trying to argue saying
I
that men want
wasn't,
hierarchies and
but-
stuff?
I
Women
didn't
want the
say that.
hierarchies.
But
I
don't
think you mixed me up. I didn't say that.
but don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with 50-50 relationships because a lot of 50-50 relationships actually work out.
There is
Really?
a lot wrong with it.
Please explain to me when they work out.
When it's just an understanding for both parties.
Really? Like in the United States? 50-50 partnerships?
I mean, it just depends. It just really depends on the people and
'Cause
the situation.
We do have a culture of 50-50 relationships nowadays, and I'd argue, writing a book on this shit, it does not work. And there's the stats to prove it. About 50% of marriages end in divorce. 70-80% of them are initiated by women. These are supposed to be men that women love and adore, but yet they're the ones initiating divorce. I mean, 50-50 partnerships typically don't work. I would argue that women don't want an equal. Do you want an equal? Do you want a guy as tall as you, makes as much money as you, and is as competent as you are?
No.
Okay, so you want quite literally a superior, not an equal.
Yeah.
See, when you actually put the logic to it, like what women want and everything, the 50-50 partnership stuff sounds great on paper, but so does communism. It doesn't work in practice.
See, when it comes to 50-50, I wouldn't say 50-50. Like, I want a man to do everything, but if he's doing everything, I will return that at some point. Like, I'm gonna take you out. We're gonna date. I'll pay for
Yeah.
everything.
When?
That's what I mean. When
I
I be
just
like,
said it.
50-50.
I just
That was
said
Chris.
I
At
just
some
said
point.
if he's doing everything, then it's like, and I really see you for me, then it's like I want to treat you right back the same. Like I
No,
don't want
no,
you to just do
But
everything.
that's showing effort every now and then. He's talking about like the whole relationship, who's in charge, who's making choices. And look, you can talk about it, but like at the end of the day, all right, my man got it. I'm gonna tell him how I feel. But if he didn't make that choice, that's up to him.
And let me ask you guys a better question. Earlier, you guys said society shouldn't judge you for your body count. Let me ask you this. If you meet a guy that's attractive, a leader, dominant, assertive, these traits that we talked about earlier that define a leader, do you think he's going to care about a woman's body count? Yes or no?
Possibly. It all depends on the guy, honestly. I would just say it depends on the guy. You never know. Some guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a guy.
Okay. What about you?
So,
What do you
who
think?
knows?
I say because he holds a certain standard for himself.
So do you think yes or no?
Yes.
You think yes?
I can't answer a question for how a guy would feel about it.
What do you think he would?
What do you think then?
He would be like,
If he would care about my body count.
Yeah. Do you think a guy that on that level that has his shit together would care about a woman's body count? Do you think he would?
It depends on the guy.
Interesting. What about you?
It matters.
You think it matters to them?
Mhm.
Why?
I'm glad you brought that up. So I saw this story the other day on Instagram,
Mhm.
and it was basically about this guy saying, if you're gonna hire, you're interviewing two different people for the job, right?
Yeah.
One person, the last 5 years, they've had 5 jobs, so
Mhm.
one job per year. The other person, they've had like 25 jobs within 5 year span. Who are you gonna hire? The person that has multiple jobs, or the one that's at least stuck with 5 of them?
Good point.
I don't know who said that, but I.
That answers your question about the bodies versus how many times you've had sex versus how many bodies you have.
I wouldn't say though, not necessarily.
It
In my
does.
opinion, not necessarily.
no. You stated earlier you want to know. Our question for us: if the girl had multiple bodies from different guys, or one person multiple times, what's better? She's saying, if I'm an employer, I'm gonna hire the person that has one job for five years versus 5 different jobs.
But I say not particularly because I personally have had multiple jobs. But it's like I just
Do you not see that it's an analogy?
I do, but I've had
But
jobs.
you refuse to accept the analogy.
I don't refuse to accept it. I just feel like
Yeah, you're refusing to accept the analogy.
I just feel like I've had
March.
jobs. Oh my God, come on. No, I feel like I've had jobs and it's just like I don't like the job, so I leave. Like I could be at the job for a week. It doesn't matter
So
how
then
many jobs
why would I
I've
hire
had.
you knowing you're going to leave the job? Think about it. If I'm an employer, I want the best employee possible. Why am I going to hire you? You're going to leave.
I mean, that's literally how I am, but I'll lie on my resume. Like I've had multiple jobs, but like
They're gonna see this.
I will work at a job for a week and not like it
Admitted
and
on
quit.
the internet of false documents.
Why are you looking like that? I will work at a job for a week, and if I don't like it, I will quit and just go on to something better. It's all about moving up, in my opinion.
That's not the
So
question.
I feel like work is not.
He's using an analogy.
I
and you're
understand the
being
analogy,
technical.
but work
not
is
the
not the same as sex.
This is incredible.
Working is not the same as sex with somebody.
Yeah.
I've had multiple jobs, and I will work a job and not like the job and leave and go to another
Clown
job.
world, bro.
What's your point?
Clown
The
world.
point is, work is not the same as a sexual relationship.
But that's why he's
Work
using
is
it
not the
as an
same as
analogy.
I understand the analogy,
Friend.
but I feel like
Friend,
Merch.
friend,
Get
friend,
to the
friend,
point.
friend, friend,
Get to the point.
All right.
Oh my God. Okay,
Get to the
am I
point.
tripping?
She's
Am I
trying to help
tripping?
you, friend.
Yes.
No,
Am I really tripping?
You are
Yes.
falling.
Yeah.
I want to ask you,
You
am I
stupid.
tripping? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I feel like you're kind of like disregarding the analogy a little bit.
I understand the analogy, but I feel like work is work. Sex is
Okay,
sex.
I'm just gonna say it. Only
But I understand
women.
the
I'm just gonna be honest about this. Only women have the privilege of being stupid. I'll continue on.
But let me
Like really, real talk, bro. Like, yo, I people could call me an asshole or whatever, but this podcast proves it all the time. If you're pretty enough, you can be stupid and no one will care. And no offense, right? I'm sure
I
you
don't
probably
think
have a
you're
problem.
an asshole. I don't.
Or they won't tell you.
But I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like you're pretty. You probably don't have a trouble, getting dates or whatever. But as a guy, right? Like if you're dumb as a dude, you're gonna feel consequences for that.
Yeah.
If you're dumb as a girl, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like only women get the privilege of being incompetent. Men don't. You have to be competent as a guy.
That's true. There's
It's not
A man
definitely
will take you
standards.
as you are, but
What was
a
that?
woman. I said a man will take you as you are, but
Yeah.
a woman would not.
They will not. They will not. You got to be charming, tall, good looking, have your money together, all this stuff. The guy's got to be the package,
Mhm.
which